Welcome to Go for Side Effects. I am your host, Kevin Simon, and y'all know my co-host, Wade. Wade, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How's it going?
Good. And everybody remembers Paul, United States Air Force. And we got Jason, who was in the Marines. How you doing, Jason?
Good. How are you guys?
So I did have a Coast Guard lined up. I swear to each and every one of y'all, I had a Coast Guard guy completely lined up, but he had to go to a platform, so he couldn't be on tonight. And so this is what I'm calling the all branches get together tonight. I'll come up with a better name later, but that's my best name I could come up. But, I want to thank everybody for, tuning in, going into our YouTube channel, checking everything out. I really appreciate y'all subscribing. But I want to get into a little bit with Jason first, because Jason is new to the program. He's never been on like Paul has. And let's get a little bit of when you went in and what you did during this. What was your job as a jarhead?
Yeah, so I was in the infantry. I was an 0311 infantryman, and I carried a saw, a M249 squad automatic weapon, right? And you have one per, or you have three per platoon, per squad, per platoon, So I was one of them guys. Yeah. And
Why do you people want to join the front lines? I just don't get it. I don't.
They were the first ones in. There you go. Yeah.
Right. I mean, one guy jumps out of a perfectly good airplane on here, which makes no sense to me neither. And the next guy gets in the very front of the line. Absolutely not. Hell no. No.
Yep. We'll support each other, right? We're all there.
And that's true. What I found fascinating though is that the Marines don't really get a whole lot of talked about during Desert Storm. And I think one of the reasons is because when did y'all come in? Like when did your unit arrive?
If I remember correctly, which my mind is slipping away today, but we were the third unit in country. So we were there in the middle of August of 1990.
No snap.
We flew into, I believe it's called Daharan, the airport there. And if I remember correctly, it was like 150 degrees on the tarmac. It was hottest I've ever been. It was crazy there. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, Paul can answer for that one, huh?
Yeah.
From there, we moved out to the sand. Right. That's, the best way I can say it. We weren't around towns or anything. We were in the sand and digging fighting holes and putting up camouflage netting for supposed shade, we didn't necessarily always have to sleep on the ground, but we had a cot, but yeah, that was quite an eye opener when we were just kids when we got there, 18, 19-year-old boys, and but yeah, that's when I got there. It was first part of August, but we were also one of the first companies to leave after it was all over too. So I think we were there a total of like 8 months.
Okay, so what do you remember the oil wells being put on fire?
That was gosh, it was in at least halfway through the war. The time we were there, Desert Storm. It was about halfway through, maybe a little bit more, if I remember correctly. And I know at one point in time, well, for days on end, them oil fires were so bad that it would be like the skies would be dark and it'd be noon, right? And it was just so smoky there and everything. Our uniforms would be just saturated with oil and stuff, and yeah, we're breathing that, we're moving through it. You're oily, it's crazy.
Yeah. Man, I see, and that's the one thing about it, because I think me and Wade even made this comment that y'all got the worst of the petroleum. Wouldn't you agree, Wade?
Yeah. The Marine, particularly the Marines that went in through and came up through Kuwait. Yep. They're the one that more exposure to the oil well fires than the actual oil.
Yeah, I think that was the 1st Marine Division, and the 2nd Marine Division was on the other side of us. And yeah, we moved right through there as we're going up into Kuwait. I mean, literally, you could see him. You could see him off burning off in the distance. We'd be rolling in the back of our Amtrak. It was the craziest.
Nasty. It was nasty.
Yep.
Nasty. Okay, so Paul, I have this question for you. Okay, so me and Wade have been. I've been trying to figure out. Wade, we can't really find the answer. So the oil rigs on fire in the Gulf, was that during Desert Shield or during Desert Storm?
It was during Desert Storm, and the reason for that is because, well,
we're talking about the ones in the Gulf
in
itself,
the water,
in the water. Right. It was like January pre-war, so week or 2 or 3, because Saddam was convinced the Marines were sitting off the coast, not necessarily in the. I was not in the Navy, but the Marines were sitting off the coast of Kuwait City, and the belief was they were going to do this big amphibious assault, aka D-Day invasion, 60, 70 years ago, and they never came in. The belief was, Saddam Hussein's belief is that's what was going to happen. That was the Marine way to approach a war. So in some respects, the Marines were a decoy out there in the Persian Gulf.
Okay.
But the Persian Gulf was heavily mined, very legitimate, very real mines, as well as all sorts of oil was pushed out and flushed out there to then light on fire a couple of days later. It was the largest ecological disaster in the history of the world.
No kidding. I didn't know that. And so, and Jason, I do remember that when we were in, I do remember they were going to do, after the wars kind of started, I remember Schwarzkopf and everybody got together and they wanted to do a Marine landing just to show the force that we can do it, as we were already pushing them back. I remember that being talked about, but I don't think it ever happened.
Well, Paul said something about a D-Day type landing because we were at a place called Champion, Maine, and Schwarzkopf at the time, there was talks about doing a complete 82nd Airborne drop, which would replicate Normandy, another World War II airborne assault. But to get that number of parachutes, which they said, I was just a cherry, I didn't know, but they just said, they said that there were the quantity of parachutes in country with the aircraft to actually do it, but then the casualties and the injuries on the drop zone, and then when they said that they needed something like 3 months to prepare for the drop, he's like, nah, shit can that. Now it's the 82nd Deuce Division, we're going across in vehicles now. But to replicate something from World War II, that would have went down in history books. Schwarzkopf would have been, which not that he's not huge anyway, but the whole thing would have went down huge.
Right. No, I agree with you. I mean, number one, that would have been really badass to see parachutes, everybody parachuting in while I'm in the Navy off in the ocean, watching y'all from a distance, and the Marines landing. That would have been awesome to watch y'all do that.
Now, keep in mind, you're saying how cool that'd be. Now, as we're parachuting down, the Marines are storming into Kuwait, and you're talking 30 days after the Air Force and the Navy just kicked their ass. And guys are standing there doing this, and all they want is food, water. How cool is that? That's a chump you'd feel like.
No,
seriously.
Absolutely.
You can have some water in the Philippines.
Absolutely seriously. Not. I'll tell you why. Because I wouldn't have been on that front line or parachuting. That's why. And so, Jason, y'all's living conditions was a lot like the Army's. Y'all didn't have very good meals, and did y'all sleep on cots, Wade?
Once we moved up north, it's just all cots and sand.
Okay.
Yeah, the Army and we all kind of went up together,
I can't complain. When we first got there, we took over a place they named Champion, Maine, but it was a Saudi Air Force base. And we were there, and we went out of there to do training. But we were there for a couple months up until Thanksgiving. From August until Thanksgiving, it wasn't horrible. I mean,
I'm just letting you know right now, me and Paul are going, thank God, man. What are they talking about? That sounds horrible.
I know, but yeah, Paul's like, man, I had 3 hots and a cot, man. What are you talking about?
Right. He had a bed.
We had vacuum cleaners because we had carpet.
Did you really?
You guys still have your sea bags, right?
Yeah.
So every time I open that thing up, I still get sand out of it.
Look, mine's hanging. If you see it on my flag back here, mine's hanging back there.
Yeah, I still out of mine. It's been 35 years, you know.
There's a reason why I joined the Air Force, gentlemen.
Yeah, there's a reason why I joined the Navy. Well, I would have joined the Air Force, but my score was like a 28. And so an Army guy had to get me in along with a Air Force guy, got me into the Navy. Don't ask me how that happened. I had to get a waiver. And
it was like a referral bonus.
Yeah. Well, Army didn't even want me. That's bad. When the Army doesn't want you, that is bad. And the Navy's like, we'll take him. He can swab a deck. And so, Jason, I want to get into one other topic that definitely is when you were done and you came back. And you came back to your family, everything. When did you start noticing onset of problems and issues going on with your body?
When it became very noticeable was probably in 93, 94. 94 was probably the worst. That we would bleed, right? I would have problems with bleeding internally, and when that would happen, which was like all the time, my wife was so worried about me that, I mean, she put me in the car and drove me all the way to Boise, which is a couple hours away for us. That's the closest VA facility at the time. And she would drive me right up there. We'd sit in that waiting room all day, and then they'd finally tell us, well, you're not part of the VA, so they'd put you in the ER after hours, right? And that's the only way we'd be seen, even though we were there all day, you know. But yeah, I was 24, so it was 23, 24. It was in 94.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's a good reason I just asked that question. Did you hear what he just said, Wade?
Huh?
Unexplained bleeding. And that's what I had. But I had mine right after.
So I initially went into the Marine Corps, and some of the other guys that I went to school with, some of the guys that I went to school with, there was probably 10 to 15 of us around here. And I live in a small area, right? I mean, Idaho is, not a large population here. But there was
Kansas in that aspect. More cows than people.
Yes,
we have moose running around the streets there, man.
We have a lot of cows here. Yes, I think we're third in the nation for milk production. But anyway, there was like 10 or 15 of us, and we would start talking like, "Hey, we're having this problem. Hey, we're having that problem." And then, for whatever reason, I was the first one to start going to VA, and then the guys would call me or catch up to me. We didn't have cell phones back then, but we'd get a hold of each other and, hey, this is the problem I'm having. How are you handling it? And I'd give them my 2 cents about trying to get set up with the VA, and I think it was called the Gulf War Registry that everyone had to go through to begin with, and they'd run you through all of the different testings and whatnot to find out what kind of problems you have. And, I mean, in 97, they finally service connected me, which I didn't even know what I was doing. I mean, I was just trying to get some help, but they had given me a service connection for skeletal issues, for fibromyalgia issues, which I had no idea what this stuff even meant, chronic fatigue. But everyone, we all have them same problems, and it's absolutely crazy. But yeah, so it was in the 90s, early 90s.
And see, now that's fascinating because this is, and this question I'm going to direct to Paul on this one. So, I still have unexplained bleeding. Like my nose will bleed, my ears will bleed. When I go to the bathroom, sometimes I'll bleed. I mean, at night, I'll bleed out of my ears or out of my nose under my pillow. And I don't have the chronic sinus problems that everybody else has. And so, and I was kind of saying this earlier, I'm with Wade on this. I think they need to do a study where the Marines and the Navy were more petroleum, and the Air Force and the Army guys were more, as far as like when they blew up, Camisea, all the chemical warfare and all that. What would you say on that, Paul?
I believe that I want to be maybe a little delicate here, but I'm not a conspiracy guy. But I
You don't
believe
gotta be delicate.
Don't be delicate.
I believe we will never know the weapons that we sold Iraq during the Iraq-Iran war.
Oh,
Okay. Number two, we'll never know truly if Iraq used them against Iran. I believe they did. A lot of evidence that says that. I also believe that through that process, a chemical weapon is one of the easiest NBC weapons to make. Anybody on this call, anybody on this podcast who has a good high school understanding of biology or chemistry, heaven forbid you have an undergrad in chemistry. And I'm not talking like a degree from MIT in chemistry. No, I'm talking about your normal state university degree in chemistry. You can make a chemical weapon.
Thank God, leaves Kevin out.
damn it, Wade.
Kind of that's my point, right? This stuff is not rocket science to build. So if you have the end product, I guarantee you put 4 people on this podcast tonight with the finished product of VX gas. They'll reverse engineer it in record time.
Wow,
This
really?
is not a nuclear weapon. You don't need to find the unique uranium that can be only mined or ore out. It doesn't need to have all the different pieces and parts of a biological weapon. A chemical weapon is a handful of chemicals. I don't even want to say them out loud because oh my God, this guy talked about this. No,
well,
it's very simple to do. And if he had those, which we know he did, sources debatable. I think I know where they came from, but he had them, used them on the Kurds, used them on the Iranians. This isn't the thing that we gave him a weapon or somebody gave him a weapon and then they gave him 10,000. No, they could have given him 2. And he had the scientists to reverse engineer those chemical weapons.
Oh, we did a whole story on this, and we showed where they came from. All the way from Europe, all the way to Jordan, all the way from the United States, that we sent them over there. And seeing Jason brought something up about before the show. I didn't even know this, and I want you to talk about what you told us about the AIDS virus.
Yeah. So back in the 90s, when we were going through this, or when I was going through this and trying to figure out what was happening, me and my wife, I mean, we dug and dug under every conspiracy theory that you could think of, right? Yes, I've become a conspiracy guy, over the years, but that's because I have some serious trust issues, right? But
because they keep coming true.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah, I know. Yeah, just give it 6 months. Yeah. But so we listened to well, back then it was just a radio show or whatever from Captain Joyce Myers, I believe was her name.
Yep, I remember her.
Okay, yeah, and she would talk about and give you these leads and stuff, and you can go right directly to her and get all of the government documents from the Right to Know Act that she had uncovered of all the different warheads and all the different chemicals and all the different things that we had sold Saddam Hussein. That was back when gosh, he was president back then. I'm drawing a blank here.
Bush.
Bush Senior
Yep.
was
Papa Bush.
when he was the vice president. He was signing deals with Iraq with these chemicals and stuff, and then he continued that even into his presidency years, up until as late as I want to say it was like '89 is when it had been discovered that we were selling Saddam Hussein these chemicals. So when we came into the Saudi Arabia during that whole Desert Storm, our government knew what we were getting into.
Oh yeah.
All the different chemicals, all the different things. Yes, the oil fires brought a whole different perspective. So there's multiple things that we were all of us were exposed to, even out in the water, even up in the air. The Army and the Marines we were all together. We were all some of us were on one side of the country, but we were all together. And so we were all exposed to all the different things. The oil fires for sure. They were more centrally located on the right flank, sure, of Saudi Arabia and going up there. And a lot of us were exposed to them. And it very well could be. I have all kinds of sinus problems. I have sleep apnea now. I have lack of oxygen. I'm on an oxygen tank at night, and I mean, all these different things, and it's just getting worse the older I get. And
Well,
when the VA tells you, and you're only 54 years old, when they tell you, well, that just happens at our age. What?
well, right. But on top of that, what was the one thing you told us that was, you brought it up. I want you to be able to be the one that says it.
Yeah.
What did you find out that was 40% inside?
Yes. Sorry, I read it.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
So one of those pamphlets that we had discovered that there was that 40% of the AIDS virus had been injected or somehow put in these warheads that I can't remember the names of them. I think they were called Scud missiles that we were selling Saddam Hussein, the warhead part of it. And that's what we were exposed to. That's what gave us a lot of, more than likely, there's no confirmation. No one can confirm any illness that we have, but more than likely, that's what's causing the effects of what a lot of AIDS patients have had through the years was autoimmune deficiencies, immune disorders and stuff. And I still today, I mean, I'm on my third cancer. I don't know about you guys, but I'm on number 3. And this one here's supposed to get me eventually. Who knows? I mean, they're not God. They can't tell me when I'm going to go, but the one I have now is untreatable. And I'm like, gosh, what did we get poisoned with here?
I didn't even know this. So I mean,
I didn't tell you about the cancers because we didn't really have a lot of chance to talk. But I mean, I've had testicular cancer when I was 42, 43 years old. Somewhere I was in my early 40s. I had testicular cancer. I've had skin cancer, which we probably all have had skin issues. I mean, I can't even make my rashes go away anymore. They used to go away during the summer, but I just can't get them to go away anymore. No medicine helps. And there's times where the heat and the humidity or whatever, if you take a shower bath, I mean, you itch so bad, it's just absolutely just drives you crazy. And now I have what they call a rare blood disease, cancer. It's polycythemia vera, right?
Is that the one that Colin Powell had?
I don't know.
No, no, huh?
Oh, Colin Powell. I'm sorry.
No. Colin Powell had a blood cancer, from what I understand.
There's quite a few. I know that there's quite a few of us Desert Storm veterans that have certain blood problems and whatnot, but I mean, I've been battling cancers now since 2014. And
I'm so sorry.
Well, I mean, what do you do, right? You just take one day at a time. I mean, yeah.
You know what? And you're in great spirits. I mean, I'll be honest with you.
Absolutely. No.
I mean, you look great. You look a lot better than Wade.
Well,
Oh,
believe it or not, I have a permanent handicap sign for my pickup. The VA gave me that. I'm like, gosh, guys, you don't even think I'm going to get better.
Right. And then so Paul, okay, I got this for you. So today I was talking to a guy that was in Vietnam, and he was like, oh yeah, but he was telling me the cancers that he had. And so I was like, hey, have you filed under the PACT Act? He goes, oh no, it's not for us. That's right. And I told him, amen, Paul. I tell you the one thing that Vietnam, if y'all know a Vietnam vet that has cancer and most likely caused by Agent Orange, tell them to file with the VA. He had no clue. And then so when I told him, he was like, oh man, I'm going to buy you a steak dinner. I was like, no. You're going to go. That's not what this is about.
Correct.
You deserve it.
I work with Vietnam vets every single day. Right? The young ones are in their late 60s. The oldest Vietnam vet I ever worked with was 92 years old.
Damn.
It is very common when I start to work with a Vietnam vet who has no service-connected disabilities for that veteran to go 0 to 80 in one claim in record time. It's unbelievable. I feel that our generation, Gulf War illness, burn pits, is the Agent Orange of our generation. I got some pretty strong opinions about some of that stuff. And at the end of the day, I believe that the burn pit registry, the burn pit legislation, I should say, has stuff in there. Legislation for the burn pit, the PAC Act, blah, 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 blah. Korean War veterans, Vietnam veterans, veterans who never served in combat. It expanded locations that Agent Orange was stored at. Guam, if you were in Guam before 1980, you're Agent Orange presumptive. If you were stationed in Massachusetts up until 82, you're Agent Orange presumptive. Too many details to get into on this call, but
no, but why the hell did you have to bring up Guam? I was there in 89.
all time.
Well, I'm not that old. It's 89. So, but I thought I heard something about that. And see, that's the thing about it. There's so many varieties of chemicals that we're exposed to. None of us are ever going to end up knowing exactly what it was. And I know they're doing, researching on diets. I know they're doing researches on pills. I know, creams, whatever. I mean, but for 5 of us well, 4 of us now, 5 that didn't, wasn't able to come on because he's on a platform. I hope he's watching this. I'm going to have a conversation when he gets back. But for the 4 of us that are sitting up here talking with each other, different branches, we all have one similarity. We were exposed to something. The difference is we don't know what. And that, to me, that's how I explained it to everybody. And I mean, Jason, I'm so sorry that what you're going through. And, Wade, everything Wade's gone through, but Wade's a critic. And that's one thing I'll give Wade. Wade is a diehard critic. And that's what you're a critic. You're a critic, man. Don't give me that.
I like to, I like to take all the pieces. I'm not one of those that say, like I say, I always say, I broke my toe. I got Gulf War illness,
Right. No, I agree with you on that.
Did you want to, especially since we got Paul, did you want to touch base on that NIH?
I definitely want to touch base on this because this right here has never been done before for Desert Storm vets. And I want us to have a little bit of a conversation. So wait, I'm going to let you just take it away.
All right. Well, first, I'm going to throw this question out to Paul. So, what exactly did Paul or Bush Senior? He brought that up. I'm backtracking a little bit. What exactly did Bush Senior do before he became president?
He was an ambassador to China, which is why we have such tight relations with China today, and why I firmly believe we'll never go to war with China, because Papa Bush was smart enough to say if we have economic ties to a country that's more powerful than political differences. I believe that. I'm not sure that I like it, but I think that's true. And he spent about a year and a half as the head of the CIA.
Right.
Before that, he was an oil man in Yale and Skull and Crossbones. And that'll take you down a white rabbit hole.
Exactly. So with him being between his oil history and his CIA history, who knows what happened before he even got in there. So I think that laid a lot of groundwork. So anyway, he's gone. He's long gone. So anyway, the NIH, the VA, and the NIH, National Institute of Health, they are doing a combined study. You can find out about the study if you're interested. Everybody's, I don't want to do a study. Okay, great. Don't do a study. Anyway, you can Google Project In Depth. It's on the VA and the NIH's website. First of its kind. It is a very hard screening process. I got screened for it as yesterday. Oh, and just some full disclosure, I am allowed to talk about this. I did get permission from my screener, my very nice screener person lady. So I very much want to be a part of this study. So we'll find out how far I get on it. They have screened over 1,000 applicants. To date, they've only selected 27. So what they are looking for, I have no idea. So that makes me very curious. And it's a phenotyping, a deep phenotyping study. Once you pass each stage, which is, that's like, if I get to the next stage, I'll give up blood, urine, That'll be, and then once they test that, that'll be a stage if you make it past. It's 2 weeks in Maryland at the NIH. And when I say 2 weeks, that's 2 weeks of lockdown at the hospital. You're not leaving. You are there, and you stay there for 2 weeks and don't leave the building. And you do nothing but studies all day, every day. I know it doesn't sound like a fun time, but but what it does tell me is they are looking for something very specific. If they screened out that many applicants and they've only taken a small percentage, the other disqualifier for is, which I find I find it very refreshing for this critic, is that the symptoms must have started to appear within at least 5 years, 1996 or earlier.
Really?
I like that. You know why I like that, Kevin?
What?
I like that. So 30 years later, someone can't say, I'm tired. I have chronic fatigue syndrome.
Right. Right. I mean, a lot of us have had onset. A lot of people had onset before 96. But thing about it is you said something earlier that I really loved. Well, I didn't love it. I thought it was the weirdest thing. The hypothesis.
Sure.
Hypothesis. Am I saying it right? Am I saying it right?
Yeah, you're good.
The Germans find Pearl Harbor.
Gun.
He's on a roll. Go with it.
So you were saying that one of them was from, well, whatever his face was sarin gas. Others say oil rigs. But what was the one that you told me?
So I mean, the lady was really nice, and I always have a lot of questions for these people, and of course I'm a real smart ass, and I didn't really realize her level of education. She's a PhD person, but she was telling me the different things was exposures to camels. Okay, and I told her straight up. I said that's a bunch of BS. Which, of course, I didn't, use the initials. And she's like, "Excuse me?" I'm like, "That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard." And I said, I honestly can't believe you're paying scientists and they're coming up with different ideas like that. Seriously, think about it. There's somebody out there making a huge paycheck, more than I made today.
Right.
You can't get exposed. All right, how many camels did you get exposed to, Kevin?
One.
And well, okay, that's one more than I seen or got exposed to.
Right. Well, that's only because we did a camel ride.
Yeah. Oh, you've got camel ride.
5. Did
Who
you
in the
say
Navy
5?
can do a camel ride? God.
Hey, we got a break after Desert Storm. What? It
So
was fun.
So what's the thumbs down, Paul? I know you got something for me. What do you got?
You said it's limited to 5 years.
No, the symptoms must have manifested within 5 years.
I get the logic in that. I think that should be cohort A.
Yes, that's what it was. Yes.
Okay. Cohort B is 6 to 10. Cohort C would be, but that's what I'm saying, because it has been proven many chemicals, that stuff we were exposed to, we weren't, doesn't matter. Many chemicals take decades of being in our bodies for our bodies to start to break down from that chemical.
Yeah, that's what
So-
Dr. Glum said.
I don't have, well, let's put it this way, chronic fatigue. Guess what? I was hopped up on Mountain Dew and M&Ms for the first 50 years of my life.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah.
I was just
a Red
tired.
Bull junkie. Yeah.
Okay. I was looking for that sugar, that caffeine, whatever. Chronic fatigue is what a person who was lazy had. You don't have chronic fatigue, you're lazy. So there was a head shift, a dynamic shift of no, chronic fatigue is actually an illness, Paul. You have it, but you're too damn stubborn to say you do because you have this image that somebody with chronic fatigue might actually be lazy.
No, that's a good hypothesis.
Right. So I think there's some framing of all of this stuff.
No, you're right. But you're right. That the cohort, but whatever they're looking for and whatever study,
I get what you're saying, though.
Yeah. Whatever they are looking for having such a whatever, I won't say a small study. When you're looking for 75 participants, they are looking for something very specific.
Yeah, they gotta be. Yeah, they
She
gotta be.
couldn't tell me. Obviously, she couldn't tell me what they're looking. I mean, it's right on their website. Deep phenotype research. Whatever they're looking for, it is specific enough that it has eliminated 90-some percent, 98% of the applicants.
So do you think they know what they're looking for?
Yes, I do believe they know what they're looking like for. I absolutely do believe they know it.
And then they could say, we haven't found it, or we found it in a statistical anomaly of veterans.
If we were,
veterans have it, that's not enough to have a normalcy of percentage of veterans. It's a statistical anomaly, and it could have been in their childhood. It could have been pre or post military.
I think it's something that they're looking for that you could have only have gotten there, or whatever they're looking for. It is that specific.
This is where I would disagree. I'm skeptical on that. I think they're looking to disprove, not prove, disprove.
I think they're looking for a biomarker. If we were 20 years earlier, maybe even 10 years, I would say they're coming up with a biomarker for disability rating. You have to have this for us to give you a disability rating.
Oh yeah.
That would be my initial. But we are so far down the road. I'm on the younger side, or Jason's on the younger side. Kevin, you're up there, but whatever. But I'm just thinking, okay, how many more Desert Storm specific 9091 veterans can there be to get? There's not, numbers wise, there's not enough in there to put that much money into a study for that big of a study. So I don't think they're looking for a disability biomarker, but they're looking for something. Or maybe they are, like you said, maybe looking to disprove it. But why would they try to disprove it? That's still a lot of damn money and time. You're looking at a multi-year study.
Okay, so here's my feeling on it. And my feeling is what if they're actually looking for it to disprove other research for them to be able to just do the finding? Like other research, just like, no, this isn't, it's not sarin gas. No, it's not this. It's not this. Stop funding this. Stop funding that. I mean, we just don't know. But
how come some of the, and I won't mention names, but how come some of the privately and other college funded researchers are on the advisory committee for this one.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
That's
that.
what I would like to know.
Oh, okay. So they must know something.
Right.
That
That's
like
what I'm saying.
they must be coming up with, okay, there must be now. See, what you
Now I'm
didn't say
going
that
down
in
the
beginning.
rabbit hole, Jason. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, all right, yeah. But I mean, you didn't say that one. If you would have led off with that first, I went on a different rabbit hole as far as me thinking that for them to discredit all the other ones. But if you're taking researchers and you're putting them together that have already been studying,
Right.
something must be mixed in there that they're seeing. I mean, I believe they're going to do something that has to do with the mitochondria. I really do. I think it's
she did say that they are concentrating on chronic fatigue.
right. And okay, so that tells you right there. She didn't
But
say
there's
anything
no way
about the brain
if
fall.
you take all four of us right now, there is no way that all four of us were exposed literally to the exact same thing. We did not take the same medications. I mean, when we start breaking it down, like by your anthrax, your PB, we were not exposed to the same environmental conditions by any means. You know, like Kevin and I, we talked about common denominators. There is no way that all four of us were anywhere remotely exposed the same, other than immunizations, unless there's something else.
Right. And now, but I mean, like to me, I believe it or not, I can't believe I say this, but the Marines, I believe, were the most exposed at anybody being next to the oil wells. As far as being more in a chemical environment than what any of us were, because it was coming down on them. I don't know how they slept like that. I couldn't imagine how they slept like that. And I mean, if there was chemical warfare being exploded, like
But you're still going back to, and I said, I know I pound this in, but you're still going back to, it's an acute exposure. Acute meaning a very quick, not prolonged.
right.
We weren't there for months. We were there for days.
Right. Well,
You know what
I
I'm saying?
mean, yeah, I see that, but I guess the way I mean, Dr. Glum opened up my eyes a little bit more last week when she was really talking about even just a little bit exposure. It depends on the person's body. It depends on their DNA.
Everybody's
Everybody's body. But I mean, okay, so I'm gonna take me and Jason. Talking about bleeding. Were you bleeding when you went to the bathroom? Did it come out your nose? Did it come out your ears?
It's all of the above. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have this next question.
Blow your nose, it comes out. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So here's my next question. Do you have children?
I have two girls.
Okay. I'm glad you have girls for this question. Do they have the same problems? Unexplained bleeding.
No, I don't. Not the bleeding part, but they do have a lot of the same problems that I do have.
Okay. Because like the same common denominator with Wade is his daughter and my daughter have the same problem. And we're just like, that's just weird. Along with what John's daughter had the same problem too.
Well, if you think about it, so and I didn't mean to interrupt there, but
No, you're good.
my first cancer was testicular cancer, and at the time, that is service connected, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is service connected, and I also was diagnosed with infertility. Our second daughter was a miracle, basically, and yes, she looks just like me. She's my daughter, and but she was basically a miracle. She shouldn't have been born. I shouldn't have been able to have her. But so it gave me infertility as well. Something in our reproductive organs or parts of our bodies was infected by something, whether that is a vaccine, whether that's the botulism shot, whether that's the anthrax shot, or whether that was the toxins we were exposed to by the air, by what we drank, there could be a number of things.
Oh, Paul, he wanted to get down the rabbit hole on this because I saw him raise his hand on that. What were you gonna say?
His phone number so we can call afterwards.
Go ahead.
The reason why I got very involved in my own health, its relationship to the Gulf War, is very simple. My grandfather was in World War One. Okay, over in Europe. 5 kids. My mom and of course aunts and uncles. 1 to 5 to 20 grandchildren. 15 to 20 have cancer and or died from cancer. Now that's our ages. Okay. 4 of those who have died before death went to Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. The experts at Rochester Mayo Clinic are like, this is statistically impossible. Nobody has 20 grandkids and 16 of them have cancer. And the belief was that my grandfather was exposed to something, World War I, passed it on genetically, multiple generations.
Which World War One was a toxic battlefield.
Okay. I myself have 2 daughters. When I learned about my own family history, then I started to see all this stuff in the early 2000s, mid 2000s about guys like Jason and everybody else. I'm like, did I do this to my daughters?
Yeah.
That's my greatest fear. I volunteered to join the military.
Yep.
I wanted the job that I ultimately got. I wanted to go to Desert Shield, Desert Storm. I spent a year in training, and now I'm going to get in the game. Nobody trains for a basketball game for a year and never wants to play basketball. It's not why you do it. Stupid, arrogant, we can call it whatever you want. Okay. My children didn't sign up for that. I did. Jason,
Yeah, but
I respect and love your approach about your health. God love you.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Sorry.
I'm going to tell you right now, even though you signed up, you didn't sign up to not know what you were exposed to. When we signed on the dotted line, I understand. I volunteered. I went out there. I ate, and I would do it again. Everybody sitting on this panel would go out and do it again. But what we didn't sign up for is for them to withhold the information against us 35 years later to finally come out and say, well, okay, well, maybe we're going to look at this one thing. Or, hey, we're going to keep denying these guys and tell them that, oh, it's all in your head. We didn't sign up for that part. We didn't sign up for them to pass it down to our kids. We didn't sign up for that. We signed up to serve and to do our job. Exactly. Now, I'm telling you right now, I was not one to raise my hand and go, woohoo, I'm going out to Desert Storm. Tell you all live right now. I was scared to death. And then when I realized it was a lot of work, I was like, holy crap, I didn't enjoy doing. I mean, I enjoyed my experience of what I did in the military, but I'm not going to say I, was ready to get out there and go. I learned a lot. I met a lot of good friends. I love my shipmates. I love y'all that I met y'all. I just love everybody. I'm just a lovable son of a gun. That's all I can say. But what I'm saying is that the camaraderie was nothing like I've ever experienced before. But I didn't sign up to come home sick. I didn't sign up to see, my kids sick. I didn't sign up for any of that. I signed up because I didn't want to cut hair. I signed up because I wanted to go in, so no matter what you sign on the dotted line, you did not sign up to come home sick and for them not to withhold it from you. And that's what they did.
So
I not looked at it that way. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, I've got a story of my own to go along with what you're saying there. Yes, we all signed the dotted line, and we signed a blank check. A blank check is up to our life for our country, and I believe all of us are very proud of that and everything. But yes, when I was in the Marine Corps, my experience in the Marine Corps was probably different than most. I mean, we all have our own story, right? But mine was probably different than most, and I have my own reasons for why. After the war, I got out on a hardship. I had enough. I was done with this government, done with the Marine Corps. You know, when they sent us over to Saudi Arabia, there was a few of us in my company, and I think I told you a little bit about this, Kevin. Uh, there was a few of us in my company alone, my platoon alone, that that squad M249 that I talked about, the squad automatic weapon, shoot 223, machine gun, fully automatic, right? You carried about 600 rounds of ammunition with it, but the things were such a pile of junk that if you got one round off, you were pretty fortunate, you know? And they knew that when we were in Honduras prior to going to Saudi Arabia, they knew that them weapons didn't work. So me, I was a 19-year-old boy, you know? I was scared shitless, but I was a Marine, you know, I'm invincible, right? That's what you got to do, you know, hoorah, let's go, send me, you know? But, our armorers could not even fix them weapons. And when they gave them back to us to go over to Saudi Arabia, they were not fixed. They literally sent a few of us Marines into war with weapons that didn't work. And they knew it. You know, I was faced with that for the 7-8 months I was there. What I did, I bought a big Rambo knife, if you will, for lack of other words, survival knife from another guy that carried an M16. Right, I bought that from him. You know, that's what I packed over there. That was my lifeline, if you will. You know, but my time in the war, those were the things that shaped me into the Marine that I became. Right, I went in, and we all have our own stories, but I went in not expecting the Marine Corps to turn their back on me and just make me a number, but they did. Not only did I get exposed to all the chemicals and everything and whatever else caused all this illness, but they didn't even care enough to give me a weapon that worked. And no, I could not bring my own weapon. They did not allow us to even have a sidearm. Nothing, right?
God, that's crazy.
You brought what they told you that they could bring. You could bring. That was it. I mean, you know, the reason why I bring that up is because I've been told by other veterans, well, why didn't you just bring your own? We couldn't.
Yeah.
In the infantry, no, we're not allowed to do that. I had a staff sergeant who was pissed off at me, said that I would never see corporal as long as he was over me because I got married. I didn't ask his permission. No kidding. And I never seen corporal. I was an E3 the whole time, you know, but I mean, I still had the job of a corporal, you know. I mean, that was really stupid, but
I agree with you. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. And ladies and gentlemen, as we're coming towards the end of the show, I just want that y'all to know that is why I did not join the Marines right there. And that's why I didn't join the Army, because I heard from other people that they didn't even get, some of them didn't get bullets. I was like, what the hell? And so, but we are coming in. We are going to go into the after show. Y'all go check out our Patreon, because that's where the after show goes into. And, you know, thanks for supporting. Y'all can, get a hold of me at kevinsimon@goldforcesideffects.com. Email me. Tell me your story. I want you on. This right here is going to be about one every 4 to 5 weeks. Right here is we're bringing everybody back on. This is our all branch group right here. And we're going to discuss daily topics about how our lives are and other vets' lives are, so we can start connecting as one. That's exactly what we need to start doing, instead of bickering and arguing. And people stop sending me freaking, messages and all that stuff about, different crap. Yeah, they know who they are. I don't want to hear it anymore. It's about veterans connected. Stop arguing with us. Just understand everybody here had a different experience. This is one of the reasons why I want to do this. But we all agreed to the same thing. We came back different. And it's time for us to connect. So y'all get a hold of me at kevinsimon@goldforcesideffects.com if you're interested in coming on the show. I am still looking if there's a Coast Guard person out there that wants to join. Y'all know somebody, get his ass on here. because they need to be up here just as much as we do. Jason, thank you for telling your story. Paul,
Thanks for
thank
having
you.
me back.
Oh no, all of us going to be back in about 4 to 5 weeks. Wade, thank you for coming on tonight. And what we're going to do is now jump into after show. Thank y'all for joining us. We'll see you next week.